But first today, a motion still is running high about the proposal to build a new town centre a kilometre or so up the road from the Smithfield Centre, the existing Smithfield Centre. Two proposals relating to the town centre will be put before the Cairns Regional Council at its meeting today. Now, it may sound innocuous enough, but according to Scott Driscoll, who's the Executive Director of the Queensland Retailers Association, it's really the thin end of the wedge. Scott Driscoll is with me this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Pat.
Before explaining the QRTSA's concerns about the proposal, or the proposals going before Council today, could you explain what each of them is? I mean, one is a schedule and one is a consultation plan.
Yeah, look, Pat, one of the things that we're concerned with, particularly with regard to the consultation plan, and I've got it in front of me and we've looked at this, there's a portion of that that's supposed to include actual public consultation, displays, etc. Now, that was indeed meant to have begun 2 days ago. The Council is being asked to endorse something in their meeting that, from all intents and purposes, is a dead-set secret, but supposedly has already begun, and also has a provision within it for an alternative site analysis that was supposed to be conducted and reviewed by Council, which, to my knowledge and from the information I've had from contacts within Council, was supposed to be done and dusted, but indeed hasn't even been completed. And the Council bureaucrats are putting this up to Council to be endorsed when things clearly are flawed.
Well, you say endorsed. I think the words of the Mayor were a review, but you claim the Mayor, though she promised to wipe the slate clean and take a new look at the town centre proposal. The release suggests you think she's reneged on that, the media release the association put out. However, isn't getting a consultation plan underway a good thing for everyone concerned? I mean, a review, as I said, it's not necessarily a backflip, is it?
Look, Pat, the bottom line, what the Mayor committed to me and committed to our constituents on the Northern Beaches and committed to the community on the Northern Beaches, and I think was endorsed at the last election very strongly on, was to scrap the plan, the flawed blueprint, the inquiry by design process that was strongly supported by the former Mayor. Now, that assurance was given to me very, very clearly in a meeting that I had with some of my staff and some of Val's people during the election campaign. In fact, it was quite clear that there was a commitment to go back and reconstitute another workshop that was actually going to have the proper stakeholders around the table. This process that's now before Council to progress, and we need to be pretty straight about this. That if there's a different outcome out of what the motion and out of what's put before Council, that's all well and good. But what is before Council are Council officers asking Council to endorse something that is clearly building on. In fact, it refers clearly to the former inquiry by design process, and in fact says there's been extensive consultation already, when frankly there hasn't.
You say also your phone's been running hot with concerns from retailers. I mean, it appears to me they've been running hot for some months. What are the current concerns? Could they be simply fear of competition?
No, these guys aren't fearful of competition. What they don't want to see is that the existing Smithfield Centre and the Smithfield precinct is satellited, and that is part of, in previous conversations that I had with the now Mayor, she seemed to agree with me on that we wanted to see good, sustainable development up on the Northern Beaches, building around the existing infrastructure. Now, we're talking about a proposal that's going to start up a satellite 1.5 kilometres down the road, and for all intents and purposes is going to provide another retail precinct, which clearly is not in the best interest of transport, it's not in the best interest of consumers, and it's not in the best interest of the Northern Beaches.
What would the association like the Council to do? What does it expect the Council to do?
I think we expect quite clearly the Mayor to honour her election promise to me, to our constituents and to the community, that this process will not be, the former inquiry by design process will not be the basis and the blueprint for moving forward. It was flawed. There were not the right people around the table. I mean, this is not unusual to go back and restart a process when severe public concerns are heard by government. In fact, it's just happened on a major development down in Brisbane recently called North Bank. So, I'm just asking Val to, remember what she promised and honour that. And I'm going to be meeting with her a little later this morning, and we'll be going over that. Hopefully, we can get a resolution and get some sense on this.
Scott Driscoll is with me this morning. He's the Executive Director of the Queensland Retailers Association, which is not happy at all about a new town centre shopping centre going in about 1 kilometre or a kilometre or so north of the existing Smithfield shopping centre. Would existing retailers within the Smithfield Centre ever accept competition in the form of another major shopping centre in the same suburb?
Look, I don't think that's the right way to go forward. Whether they'll accept it or whether they have to deal with it, I suppose, is whether or not politicians actually honour promises and whether or not they have the best interests of the whole community at heart. What the former plan was and what the plan that, if council officers have their way, will be built upon is to satellite them, basically cut them off and do something else entirely down the road. Now, that's not good planning. That's not good for business. It's not good for consumers. It's not good for thousands and thousands of people on the northern beaches. It's not about cutting off competition. We want to see growth and development in the retail sector up there on the northern beaches. We just simply want to see what's been a tried and proven practice to build around existing infrastructure.
Well, let's hear what Cairns Regional Council's view is on this subject. Mayor Valshir has been listening to what you've had to say. Mayor, good morning.
Good morning, Pat. How are you?
Good, thank you. How do you respond to Scott Driscoll's inferences that you've essentially backflipped on your promise to take a completely new look at the Smithfield Town Centre project?
Yes, well, Pat, I am doing exactly what I promised to do prior to the election and what some of the other councillors at that time also promised, and that was that we would have some proper consultation processes and planning around that whole Northern Beaches area. We knew before the election that there was quite a lot of misgivings and concern about that the process had been bulldozed through, and so we will go back to the drawing board and make sure that there is real community engagement out there and that all the people who live in that area have an input as well. So this time with the council officers will be driving a process. That's a timeline that's going to council. It can't be met, so that the councillors will not be endorsing that timeline at all. I mean, it actually is the councillors who make the decisions. Council officers can make recommendations, but it's the councillors who will decide, and we've got a council who very much is committed to consultation. I'm a bit worried, though, that Scott said that he's going to come and see me this morning and get a resolution by talking to me. I just have to say that the full council makes decisions, and it'll be the full council involved in making sure we have proper processes occur.
Yes, well, what about his assertion that really the public consultation process has been poor, if non-existent?
Well, so we're going to change that. I mean, the proposal will be there'll be workshops, there'll be community meetings, there'll be forums, there'll be a whole range of processes by which we engage all the people up there. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to have their say. I mean, we've got James Cook University who needs student accommodation. We'll be talking to the state government about whether there's a need for more government offices in that area. We know that it's an area that's close to public transport, so this is a good place for there to be residential facilities. Do we need to be looking at affordable housing? There's a whole lot of discussion that needs to occur around what uses we need to have with the land in the Northern Beaches, and we need to involve, yes, the retailers will be involved, and so will the other people who live in that area.
How do you intend to deal with the opposition coming from the business community that is the current Smithfield Shopping Centre and the community, members of the community who feel it's not needed?
Well, we'll certainly be asking those people and listening to them and taking on board all of those comments. We're also going to get a review of the economic reports that have come out in that area so that we can take into consideration all of the aspects like the future proposed growth up there, what's the population going to be, what gaps are there in the delivery of services and businesses up there. So it'll be quite broad-ranging, and we will make sure that there's enough time to do that properly.
Is this all just a matter for the market to sort out, a win for competition and the consumer? Maybe the best shopping centre will win. Is it that kind of thing?
No, I don't think it is, because I don't think there's going to be another shopping centre come out of that. I mean, I don't think it's about competition. It's about looking at what the need is up there and what the gaps are. And then, yes, certainly, there's retail happening on the other side of Smithfield at the moment, of the eastern side of the highway, and certainly I think various businesses are going to look for opportunities in that area, and yes, I guess competition is healthy, but we want there to be good planning about this, and we won't be pressured by developers, and we won't be pressured by Scott. We'll take into account what said. We'll look at the evidence, we'll look at the statistics, we'll look at the needs, and we'll listen to what the people want to say about the area.
We're going to have to leave it there. I was hoping to ask you about Palm Cove and Caravan Park, but we'll have to save that for another day. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
Mayor of the Cairns Regional Council, Val Shear, and Scott Driscoll, just by way of response to what the Mayor said, a brief comment?
Oh, Pat, look, I think, I hope to sort this out a little bit more clearly in the meeting with Val soon, but can I just sort of read very, very briefly from attachment 2 to the agenda item that the Council's going to be considering. This is a quote from the consultants. Given that there has been extensive consultation already undertaken to date in relation to this project, that's point one, that's rubbish. Secondly, a vision statement drawing on the outcomes of the EBD. That's the same flawed EBD that when I spoke to Val during the election campaign, she had just as much problem with as me. So, we've got a little bit of work to do to remind people of what they went into the last election on.
Scott Driscoll, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Pat.
Scott Driscoll, the Executive Director of the Queensland Retailers Association.